I hope some of you enjoyed that, because I'm sure plenty of viewers out there, like me, found Storm Fear a misfire. Its shortcomings largely lie with first-time director Cornel Wilde, who doesn't have an innate sense of how to use the camera to tell a story. He relies too much on Horton Foote's overwrought dialogue to reveal what are supposed to be deeply guarded secrets, and he underestimates the intelligence of the audience. I doubt anyone then or now didn't figure out in the first act that Davy is Charlie's kid. The revelation is drawn out to the point of ridiculousness. It would have benefited the story to stage the action mostly from Davy's perspective. The kid's not only trying to understand who these people are and what they want, he's struggling to cope with the insane ways messed up adults behave toward each other. If we'd been made to empathize more with this frightened but courageous kid, Storm Fear could have been like better noirs that focus on children. Pictures like The Window, Shadow on the Wall, Talk About a Stranger, and Night of the Hunter. Horton Foote's specialty was not tight-lipped, hard-boiled dialogue or oblique storytelling. A stage actor turned playwright, his work in the 1950s, mostly written for television, was in the grand theatrical tradition. Every actor given the chance to spill their guts in a storm of words. Several members of the cast acquit themselves well. It's nice to see Dennis Weaver playing something other than a cowpoke, which had pretty much been his career to this point. The same year he made Storm Fear, Weaver was cast as Chester in the TV show Gunsmoke, and that character's stammer and twitchy mannerisms would become for years Weaver's stock in trade, at least until 1970, when Steven Spielberg cast him in Duel, and Weaver got his own TV series, McCloud. The actor who comes off best here is Lee Grant, making something intriguing out of a barely sketched character. When she learned I'd be showing this film, Lee sent me a note. My husband, Arnie Manhoff, a blacklisted screenwriter, said if I made it, there'd be enough money to have a baby. Hence, my daughter, Dinah. Thank you, Chateau Marmont. Dinah Manoff grew up to be an accomplished actress and director herself, winning a Tony for her performance in Neil Simon's 1980 play, I Ought to Be in Pictures. As for Stephen Hill's performance, he seemed to think he was Rod Steiger, but came off more like Jerry Lewis. There's nothing scary about this Benji guy. He's a goofus with a gun. By comparison, check out Rudy Bond, playing essentially the same screw-loose henchman in Jacques Tourneur's 1956 thriller, Nightfall. He's a grinning, gibbering goon, but scary as a heart attack. In case you didn't recognize Stephen Hill in the dandy vest and the fade haircut, he'd go on to play the original Mr. Briggs on the TV series Mission Impossible, and later was sagacious District Attorney Adam Schiff in early seasons of Law and Order. Despite the missteps evident in this picture, Cornel Wilde persevered and learned as a director. He and Gene Wallace continued to produce and co-star in films together. Oddball dramas like The Devil's Hairpin, Maracaibo, Sword of Lancelot, and Beach Red. The only one they made that Wallace isn't in is 1965's The Naked Prey, in which Wilde is forced by native tribesmen to survive torturous rituals in the African desert. Did I give Dan Duryea short shrift? Don't worry about it, Dan fans. He'll be back next week on Noir Alley, returned to his natural habitat, big city shadows. Join me then for Black Angel, a 1946 suspenser from the pen of Cornell Woolrich. June Vincent, Broderick Crawford, and Peter Lorre joined Duryea for a keeps-you-guessing thriller smartly directed by Roy William Neal. Until then, see you in the shadows.